Okay, welcome to my guide. This is going to consist of a few parts. The first part is going to be gear and setup. The second part is going to be how to do it with the normal spellbook on. Third part is going to be how to do it with the lunar spellbook. And the final part is just going to go over profits, benefits, all that good stuff. Okay, here's the inventory and gear that you're going to need. Alright, so you're going to want, for normal spellbook, 2 fire runes, 5 law runes, 5 air runes, 2 water runes, an ectophile, your seeds, and 5 super compost, your seed dipper, rake, and spade. This is just a telly out, to a bank in general. And for your gear, you're going to want Ardoon Cloak 3 for the Ardoon Farm Teleport. I've already used mine today, so I'm going to show you how to get to the Ardoon patch without it. This increases your crop yield on the Falador patch. This increases your crop yield in general. And this is to get to the Cabbage Teleport patch. You're going to need Explore Ring 3 for this, which you get from the Lumbridge Medium Diary, I think? I have no clue. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to teleport to Camelot and run east. If this is the first time you've been herb farming, you're going to have to rake your patch first with your rake. If this is not your first time, you just pick the herbs. And then once all the herbs have been picked, it's anywhere from about 5 to 13, I think. You're going to use a super compost on it and then use a seed on it. And go to Trollheim, use your Trollheim teleport. To use this patch, you're going to need to have completed the quest My Arm's Big Adventure. Go down all the agility shortcuts if you have the level. If you don't have the level, then you're going to have to run all the way around, which takes a much longer time, but I don't think you really need that high of an agility level. You can clean off the herbs that you just picked if you want. You won't lose much profit, so it's recommended. Go through the entrance, run south, go through the doorway, run north, and climb up the ladder. Then you're going to run north. You can use your clean snapdragon on a tool leprechaun, whatever herb you're farming, or even your Grammy ones, and it'll swap for banknotes so you don't have to bank every single time. Use your compost, plant, and then you're going to use your ectophile to go report the Port Phasmanus one. You're going to run west, past this little cow farm thing, I guess. Whatever it is. And then you're going to pick these. Next, you're going to use your Cabbage Teleport from your ring. For this, you probably want your Falador Shield 3, because it increases your XP rate on this patch. I got a lot on this one. And Super Compost Seed. Note that on any of these, your herbs can die, in which case you're going to have to clear them out with the spade. However, if you do a bunch of these runs, eventually you're going to make profit. Doesn't matter how many of them die. So Ardoon teleport, run northwest, then run north, around the farm, and to the patch. Pick the herbs. And that is really it, I guess. Yeah. Okay, here's the gear for the lunar spellbook. Obviously, you need to be on lunar spellbook. Preferably have 96 magic. Ectophile. Your seeds and your 5 super compost. Alternatively, you can use the spell Fertile Soil. I can't find it. Yeah, but it's a spell called Fertile Soil, and it's the same thing as super composting your patch. Spade, dipper, rake. 11 Astral Runes. 10 law runes, 18 water runes, 2 cosmic runes, 2 fire runes, and 2 earth runes. Alright, so here we go on the lunar run. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is just empty your ecto file. It's the same thing, a lunar and port phasmatis. There's no easy way. There's no lunar spell to teleport you closer. So just do the same thing. Pick your herbs and lay your super compost. If you had fertile soil, you would click cast fertile soil, and then you would click cast fertile soil farm patch, and that would be the same thing as super composting it. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the herb patch, the cabbage patch teleport, and you are going to pick these herbs. It's the same thing. The time, the speed that it takes to do each patch. Alright, now you're going to cast spellbook swap. Swap to the standard spellbook, and then cast Trollheim teleport. This requires level 96 magic. And if you can't do this, then I suggest not using lunar spellbook. But if you haven't completed the quest My Armor's Big Adventure and you like to use the lunar spellbook, by all means, don't do this, I guess. As I was saying, the lunar spellbook and normal spellbook take about the same time to complete an herb run. So, the lunar spellbook is like the same time, but lunar spellbook takes a few more runes. It's going to be a bit more costly. Not much more costly, but, you know, just putting that out there. By the way, this patch, this Trollheim patch, is disease-free. So, yeah, it's pretty good. Next, you're going to click Fishing Guild Teleport. Not the group Fishing Guild Teleport, Fishing Guild Teleport. This also requires basically a very high magic level. And, yeah. I also could have used my Ardoon patch teleport from my cape. But I didn't want to. Alright, and finally you're going to click Catherby teleport. And yeah, that's basically it. Like I said, oh, by the way, My Arm's Big Adventure, that patch, the Trollheim patch, is a disease-free patch, so if you can do it, it is highly recommended. Alright, so this is basically the end of the video, but I just want to talk to you about the profits. Okay, there are two main herbs that I would suggest farming. The first one is Ranar, and the second one is Snapdragon. I'm sure you probably have heard this before, but I just want to lay it in there. A lot of people do something like Toadflax because they say it's cheaper and it's less risky. No, Ranar, not even Ranar anymore. Ranar's not actually that good. It's really Snapdragon. That's the big thing. At first I thought Snapdragon would be way too risky. Hey, what if 2 of my patches died? I've had that happen and still come out even, to be honest. It's not really an issue. And eventually, if you do enough of these, you're going to make some real insane profit. Okay, also, remote farm, you do need to go to Livid Farm, which I haven't even been there once. And you do need to unlock this. However, I only think it takes about a day, probably, because it's not one of it's one of the first spells that you can unlock, so it's probably very easy to unlock. And basically, you can check on all your patches and see if they have disease. So you do that at like half-hour mark, you know, once every half hour, and hey, you have no dead herbs. That would be amazing if you had that every time. Like I was saying about the My Arm's Big Adventure, although it is a very, it is I think it's rated experienced quest, either that or masters. It is a pretty hard quest. It does have a few requirements, but it's really recommended because it can really improve your profits. It could really help you break even, having that extra boost with a disease-free patch. If you're really thinking about taking herb farming seriously, then I seriously recommend you do that quest. If you don't want to take herb farming seriously, I honestly don't see why not, unless you are a billionaire, because I've made millions herb farming. It's honestly probably the only way I make money in this game, because I suck at every other part of it. But I really suggest herb farming, and yeah. So when farming ranars, the average profits at about 2 to 3 runs a day. I'd say it's about 200k profit a day for ranars. If that's the best, the worst would probably be breaking even. The best with Snapdragon would probably be 2 to 3 herb farms a day. Would probably be 600, 500k. But more likely, you're probably going to get about 200, 300k profit, and at worst, you break even. I would not recommend doing Snapdragon unless you have the disease-free app patch. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this guide. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it's helped you. And bye.